Hello and welcome to a new episode of LITC Radio on Patreon and on YouTube today. We're trying YouTube again this time. It didn't work the first time, but now I've got my GoPro out, which I'd rather not be using. I'd rather use my normal camera, on like my normal phone camera, but for some reason the recording wasn't coming out correctly. So I'm trying YouTube again today, and we're doing it with the fishbowl angle, so hopefully it's not too ugly to look at. At the very least, we've got some good audio. But yeah, we're going to try that again today. And the reason I'm doing it today, instead of just waiting another episode or two and getting it right, is I have a lot to talk about. And visual aids will be helpful today, because I was at the Canucks game last night, the home opener where the Canucks absolutely obliterated the LA Kings 8-2. And oh man, was it fun. That was a little bit of backstory. That was my first game in Vancouver since 2014. So, there's a lot there. I've been to a lot of Canucks games in San Jose in that time, but none at home in a long time. And it was really exciting to be back in the building for a game, and not just any game, the game where it's their 50th home opener, their 50th season home opener, their Bo Horvat getting the captaincy, which we'll get into later, and of course the Canucks just going off on the Kings for some scoring, which was phenomenal. So yeah, we're gonna go unpack all that, and I'm realizing that this is, I believe, is this the first episode since? This is the first episode we've done since the season started. So welcome to the NHL season, of course, because I did one previewing the first game of the season against Edmonton. Have not made one since, but we're not even going to talk about those first two games today, because I already talked about it in my newest Sunday Crease. If you haven't gone to check that out, I encourage you to do so on lockinthecrease.com. Yeah, subtle plug. This is my podcast. I can do what I want. But yeah, we're going to focus today's episode entirely on the festivities of last night's game, because it was a party. It was an absolute party. I got down there at about, 4:30. I got there a little early just because I wanted to get some footage of people starting to show up in the the party on the plaza thing they were doing. I didn't get to see most of that because I did go in I went in when the doors opened at 5:30, but I did get to see some people lining up for autographs and to meet Darcy Rhoda and Dave Babbage. There was a very good sized line to meet them. Obviously, I don't partake in autographs anymore, just because it's not, once you're starting to become a journalist, there are certain things you gotta stop doing. You gotta do away with, unfortunately, as fun as they are. As fun as it is to go stand in line and get an autograph from players from a bygone era, and I wish I could. For now, I'm gonna call it a day on the autographs, for as far as I'm concerned. There are other things. I already am showing up in a jersey, which is a little bit of a no-no. So I would say, other stuff I will, I'm gonna have to pass on those things, which sucks. But that happens. Let's see. I got into the building, and they handed out these little game sheets. So they used to do game day programs, I guess. I remember I have a lot of those in a box somewhere from different games I've been to back in the day. I'm talking about it like I've been gone. You can hear it in my voice. My throat is a little gone today, just from the night I had out last night. But yeah, instead of doing they used to have articles and advertisements and stuff in the game sheets, but now they've simplified it. Now it's just these. It's the name of the team, the date, the person sponsoring, and then the rosters on the inside, which I like. I kind of like that they simplified it. There also used to be a game poster, but they've changed that as well, and we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, there used to be a poster in the inside, an article or two, but now it's just the roster, and some info and a cool little keepsake. This is, especially because apparently from what I saw, this is essentially what the tickets, the souvenir tickets people got looked like. They looked like this, and I like how they have done it this way. I like that they're doing these game sheets. It's such an appreciative measure. I wish I could still get souvenir tickets, but if they're going to make them the same design on the tickets and these like game day sheets the same design, then I'm fine. That's fine. That's great. Because the big thing for me is just the way technology definitely improves our lives, and it improves like everyday things. But the one thing that I will miss about going to games is that you can't get those souvenir tickets anymore, because they're such a cool keepsake. Sometimes you can get them if you're lucky, but for the most part, for the most part, you're stuck hoping there's a free souvenir available for you or something else to get as a souvenir. And this is good. This is a good one. I love that they still do this. I love that they just hand these out for free to everybody, because this is a great souvenir, and that's awesome. TD had their fingerprints all over this game, and I'm realizing I don't have one of the items that they did give us. Every seat. Let's see. So one of the things they were also handing out, TD, was which is like a bank. If you're not from the US, if you're not from Canada, they're a bank. These foam fingers. I didn't use mine, but I took it anyway, because you never know. You never know when a foam finger might come in handy. I don't know. You know, things happen. And then I don't know if you can see it from the camera, but essentially sitting back on my dining room table is a scarf. They had a scarf on every seat for this game, which is very cool. I'm a souvenirs guy. I have a couple tins worth of souvenirs just hanging out that are useless to everyone else except me. I love when teams go above and beyond like that, and they add those little extra elements just to make the games fun. And then let's see what else. I went into the Canucks store pretty early on because I wanted to get some. I had actually ordered something earlier. Apparently, so one of the things. So I talked about posters earlier. One of the things they're doing this year is they're doing these like souvenir poster things where you buy them, but they're like a nice poster. They're a nicely made poster, and they're doing like limited edition runs of these. And I got a Jacob Markstrom one for my wall. I'm obviously a big goalie guy. I want to get. I can't afford to do every single poster. I think they're going to do like 60 of them, and if like at $10 each, that's like a lot of money. That's like I think that's $300. That's more than I would like to spend on posters. I would imagine. So I thought, all right, I'm gonna get one, and of course I'm gonna get the goaltender because. Yeah, why wouldn't I get the goalie? I love Jacob Markstrom. He's a great goaltender, and we will talk about his amazing game last night as well later in the show. And then the other thing I bought while I was there is they had the opening night pucks, and I got one of those. Those are pretty cool. It's a warm-up puck, but who cares? I love it. I'm gonna treasure that one. That one's gonna sit on my puck wall my little puck hanger thing for a good amount of time for the rest of the year. I'm pretty sure. And getting into the overall game atmosphere, I haven't been to Rogers Arena in a very long time before this. The last time I'd gone was to any Vancouverites. This was before the towers. For anyone who's not from Vancouver, they built these apartment building towers next to the one side of the arena, one of which is actually connected directly to the stadium. And that added a lot of extra room for people to do things of space for events, and I haven't been since then in that time. So it was really cool getting to get a proper look around the building and the arena and all the stuff they've done since that renovation. And it looks great. It looks phenomenal. And I know I'm a couple years too late on saying that, but yeah, it looks great. They've done some really good stuff with the extra room. And I think it's a really fun spot it's a really fun spot to go find some new food and talk with people, and it's a lot less cramped on that upper bowl, which has kind of been an issue with that stadium, with Rogers Arena for a long time, is that it's so compact that it is hard to walk. You feel like you're sardined in at times, and I think they've done a really good job at opening up the space. What else is there to talk about? The game wise, or like entertainment wise, they did like a happy hour thing. So I got a drink. My friend met me. Shout out to Imrose for coming to the game with me. And overall, it was really fun. Though it was a proper sellout crowd, which I guess Vancouver hasn't seen in a long time. It was a proper sellout crowd. The fans were very into it the entire game. And the entertainment value is really done well. Like, they did some, like, the projections are cool, are really cool. The in-game videos they were doing before they brought out the players was really great. They did this new intro where it's like the Canucks, but it's like it's like a Game of Thrones something where they're fighting like these winter zombies sort of thing. I've never seen Game of Thrones, if in case you couldn't tell. I've never seen Game of Thrones, but I'm guessing it's supposed to be like one of those, like, what are they called? Like the Winter Walkers or something? The Ice Walkers? I don't know. Something like that. I don't know Game of Thrones. But I think it was supposed to be that, but they're like in the all the different NHL team jerseys, and the Canucks are battling against them. It's cool. It's like it was kind of an Avengers style thing. It was really funny because anytime Bo Horvat came up on the screen before the game, because again, the big thing around this game was not just that it was the home opener, it was the fact that they were going to announce the captaincy, and everybody knew it was going to Bo Horvat. Anytime Bo would show up on the screen, the whole crowd would just lose it, and because they knew what was going on. And I'm not kidding you. And they showed like the crowd and they showed the players like lining up against like this evil army thing that they had going. I half expected Bo to go, "Avengers Assemble," like he's Captain America. And I feel like that was a slightly missed opportunity, but hopefully they'll do that again. Maybe they'll make that fix later now that he's officially the captain. And then they brought the players out. They did the player intros. And not only did they bring out the current roster, they also brought out 5 players from past history to help, like, I guess, ring in the new year sort of thing. They brought, so the 70s, they had Dennis Kearns. For the 80s, Stan Smeel, of course. And then for the 90s team, they had Kirk McLean. And Kirk McLean came out in full goalie gear, the old mask, all the retro gear, and I'm not kidding you, I lost it a little bit. That for me was the best part of the player intros, was Kirk McLean, because, you know, it's one thing to see a goaltender when Kirk McLean's Canucks tenure was before my time. I've only ever seen Kirk McLean in videos and in old clips of Canucks games and the save and everything else, and so seeing him come out as, like, it was like he just walked out of a time machine from 1992, and it was such a cool moment for me to see this goaltender who I've idolized for years, even though I had never seen him play, was amazing. And he came out like he literally had just walked out from 1992, and it was amazing. And I loved that. The biggest ovation of the night, though, was for Todd Bertuzzi, which I gotta say I'm a little bit conflicted on. I'm not sure how to feel about that. I guess, like, I don't know. Like, it's one of those weird things. Like, I loved Todd Bertuzzi when he was a Canuck, but it's a tough one. I don't know how to feel about him now, just because, you know, he ended a guy's career by pile driving him into the ice. It's hard for me to really cheer for that guy coming out. Like, you know, the whole crowd, the rest of the crowd, anyone who was around from the 2000s, like, the whole crowd seemed to get up and start screaming, and they loved that one. He got the biggest standing ovation, and I kind of was like, that felt a little odd to me. I guess Canucks fans who were around can correct me, who were more around for that era can correct me, because again, I was a little kid when Bertuzzi was a Canuck. But I don't know, it felt weird to me. I was not one of the people getting up and screaming for Todd Bertuzzi, just because what I know about his time is a yikes, you know? I don't know if I can really cheer for that, but I'm not judging anyone who did. It just felt weird to me. And anyone who did cheer and who was at the game, leave a comment. Tell me why you cheered for Todd Bertuzzi. Like, why was that such a big, why was that the one that really drove it home for you? And then, obviously, for the 2010s, they brought out Daniel Sedin, who also got a great standing ovation. Of course, I got up for Daniel Sedin, right? Like, legendary. And then, of course, leading to the moment where they bring out Orland Kurtenbach, first Canuck captain, and the last Canuck captain, Henrik Sedin, was great. I didn't get to see the Sedins. I didn't really get a proper salute to the Sedins when they retired because I was living in San Jose at the time. So getting to see them one more time was really great for me, and I'm sure for everybody else in the crowd. And of course they present Bo with his captain's jersey, trades out the A for the captain sweater, and everybody like going nuts. It was amazing. My camera crapped out when that happened, and I'm so upset because I didn't get I got the footage of him skating up, but none of the footage of him actually putting on the jersey, and I'm very sad about that. But at the very least, I remember the moment I remember, and I'll always remember seeing him put on the jersey, you know? That's the big thing for me is, I guess, you know, one of the things that I'm conflicted on as I'm going into doing more reporting stuff is just, I feel like it's my job to document and to like take photos and video of things that I see while I'm at these games. But it's hard for me to do that because I also want to enjoy the moment. And I also want to be there in the moment, not be like living. You know how it is. Sometimes you record stuff or like you record a video or you're at an event and you don't actually remember the moment itself. You only remember you taking video of it, and you remember yourself looking through the viewfinder. And that's not how I want all of the cool things I ever see to go. Like, if the Canucks ever win a Stanley Cup, I don't want my memory of the Canucks winning the Stanley Cup to be of me recording it, right? I want it to be of me actually visually seeing Bo Horvat lifting the Stanley Cup as he takes it from Gary Bettman, you know? And that's kind of one of those things that I'm still trying to find a good middle ground on, just properly enjoying the moments of these events that I go to while also doing my job and documenting them as much as I possibly can. And that's that hard. It's a fine line, and I'm trying to find it, and I'm hoping, you know, as I get better at this, it'll be easier for me to do. And then, you know, national anthem, Mark Donnelly. Mark Donnelly is an interesting character nowadays because he's a politician, but, you know, still getting to belt out the national anthem with 19,000 of your best friends, you know, was amazing. And I've never gotten that experience before. I've never been at a game where Mark Donnelly sang the national anthem, so that was great, especially because, again, generally I'm one of like maybe like a handful of people singing "O Canada" at the SAP Center, you know, and it's not that raucous. It's not, you don't feel the emotion in the song as you go when you're like one of like a handful of people doing it. Whereas when you're in the whole building is singing at the top of their lungs, it's another experience. And then I guess we get to the game, and this is where I guess this is the stuff that I'm sure you're mostly waiting on is the game stuff. The Canucks were great. I mean, what can you say about the Canucks? They look phenomenal from beginning to end in this game, and it started off relatively slowly. Just the Kings seemed to have most of the edge, like at the first little bit, and then they got the power play, and Quinn Hughes just Shea Webered the puck in the net, and the whole building freaked, and it was an insane moment because that shot was perfect. I think he even he downplayed it after the game in the post game interviews. I even think he talked about how, I just got good some good wood on the shot or something like that. And he's like, he was kind of downplaying his shot, but oh my god, he has a shot. Quinn Hughes, for a kid who's I believe 19. He can tee it up. He's not a big guy, but he just ripped it like he's Shea Weber, and it was amazing. Jonathan Quick didn't even see it as it just blew past his head and into the net. It was into the top corner. That's one of the big things I've noticed from Quinn Hughes is for a smaller guy, he has one hell of a shot. Like, it's powerful. He the Oilers game, the opening night, he I've said this a couple times. He broke Adam Larson. It was this shot. It hit like he just teed up another. It was another slap shot. He had all the time to just rip it, and he ended up hitting Adam Larson in the leg, and Adam Larson just went down. Like, you never want to see a guy get hurt, but it was just one of those. You never want to be excited about a guy getting hurt, but it was one of those moments where you're just like, oh my god, he just knocked this fully grown man. He just broke this fully grown man with a powerful shot at 19. Imagine what he's going to do when he's 25 and got some added muscle. He might break more limbs than he believes, than we would want, I guess. I would say no one's going to want to get in front of a Quinn Hughes shot ever, because man, there's some mustard on that shot. And getting his first NHL goal, being in the building for his first NHL goal was pretty amazing. I will never forget that as long as I live, and the whole building went nuts. Well, I mean, we were going nuts the entire game. It was like I have never seen Rogers Arena that hyped. Like, I've never seen the building with that much energy. It was a great atmosphere, and it was one of the best atmospheres I've ever been at. And I've been to a lot of San Jose Sharks games over the last few years that have been, the Sharks have a real fan base, have a really loud and proud fan base, and even then, I don't think I've seen them like this game. Vancouver, when we want to, is one of the loudest and best atmospheres in the NHL. The problem is we just haven't wanted to for a long time. So, but tonight everyone was in it. The entire crowd was with this game, and it was phenomenal to see Canucks fans kind of get back to where we used to be a little bit, and seeing that and seeing everyone so loud and proud the entire night. No one was sitting on their hands at any point during this game. It was great. Brandon Sutter had a goal a couple, like a minute later. Another great shot. He just Jonathan Quick was not having it on that glove side. He was really struggling. They kept beating him in that top right corner of the net, and that one was on a short side angle. So it was a good shot by Brandon Sutter. It kind of caught him by surprise. Canucks go into the second period up 2-0, and then Brandon Sutter gets another odd man rush. Brandon Sutter tries to get a pass across to, I believe it was Tyler Meyer. Standing in front of the net. It might have been JT Miller, but either way, it doesn't. It was kind of a weak shot, but a weak pass, and it still dribbles like through a bunch of players to Petey, and Petey just kind of like taps at it, and it goes through Jonathan Quick, because Quick's not expecting that the shot to go the 5-hole shot, and it just kind of trickles through. Pettersson's off the schneid, his first goal of the season. That was great. Again, like, this game had everything. It had absolutely everything. Tyler Toffoli did get a goal late in the second. The Canucks had some issues defensively. I don't want to talk about any of the stuff that went wrong for the Canucks, because there were a couple things in a game where they score 8-2, but it's important. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you, oh, they were terrible, because they scored 8 goals. I'm not gonna sit here and dwell on anything, but I will say the few issues I noticed from the Canucks in last night's game, they had a couple defensive breakdowns, especially in the second period. I think that's just I want to believe that's just because they're kind of new. This defense is relatively different from the one that came into last season. Like, there are at least 4 guys who weren't there for most of last season, because it's just, it's Alex Edler, it's Chris Tanev, and it's Troy Stecher are the only 3 who were there for big stretches last season. Quinn Hughes played the last 5 games of the season, but that's not a whole lot. And then you have the new guys. You have Jordy Ben, Tyler Myers, and Oscar Vandenberg, who are coming into a completely new situation, for them. But for the most part, their defense wasn't phenomenal. They gave up a couple odd man rushes that I would like to see. The Canucks did get outshot in this game. That's a little bit of a concern. 39 shots on goal compared to the Canucks 25, which we scored on 8. Jesus. But yeah, you don't want to see them getting outshot regularly. Obviously, if I do have to say, the things that need to be worked on is just, not letting up so many chances Thankfully, a lot of them were kind of low danger chances at least. But even then, when he was called upon, and I'm getting to Jacob Markstrom. He was great. Jacob Markstrom was great. JT Miller had his first goal, and it was the weirdest goal I ever seen. Nobody knew it was in right away. It was this kind of nothing. He was kind of circling behind the net. He shuck off a defender and tried to pass it out to the slot. And what evidently ended up happening is it went off Ilya Kovalchuk's skate and right through the wickets of Jonathan Quick. It was just such a fast play. The John Shortos was saying it looked like he did that on purpose. I don't think he did that on purpose. As cool as that was, I do not think that was meant to happen. But that was still. It was funny because I think I was one of the first people who realized it went in from like the other end of the ice. You just kind of see the puck bounce and I'm like, that's in. And nobody else seemed to notice. And nobody else noticed for like a second. It took a second or two, and even then everyone was like, oh, we scored, yay! It was one of those funny moments where the puck just you almost feel bad. You almost feel bad because it's just such an oops of a goal. But hey, JT Miller, first goal as a Vancouver Canuck. Nobody's complaining. We're not complaining. And during the third intermission, my friend and I, we went and got food, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. I'm actually planning to do some food reviews this season. That's something I've been looking forward to doing for a while. I think one of the things about hockey, in terms of like the game experience, I think that we as like in the reporting and like journalism, hockey media community, we kind of miss sometimes is talking about like the actual experience, the different parts of the experience, like the food. I think the food, like I look at baseball as a sport that's done a really good job at marketing the actual ballpark experience. Like baseball on TV is, I would say, relatively boring. I would say it's pretty boring. But the actual going to the ballpark itself is really fun. And you're not going necessarily for the baseball in a way. You're almost going for the fun of having a couple drinks with your friends and having some crazy ballpark food, which is always getting touted online and always getting talked about. And I think that's something that in hockey we could do a little better. The thing with hockey, of course, is that the sport is phenomenal. And so in a way, not needing to really go in depth on the actual arena stuff is almost nice because of how great the sport itself is. But I do think it's something that would really add to the coverage of games, is talking about how, hey, when you're at the rink, here's some great places to try a burger or a hot dog or something. I think there's value in that as a sports angle. And so that's one of the things I'm going to be doing on the blog this season is I'm going to go to Canucks games and I'm going to try some of the food, and we're going to try different menu items and review them, I guess. During the second period, we went to the hot dog place, Steamers, which is named after Stan's Steamers meal. And I had a pierogi dog. I believe it's called what is the name? I have it somewhere around here. But essentially it was this hot dog with sauerkraut, chives, and or green onions and sour cream, and pierogies on top, and it was so good. That was really good. And then my friend had the Bartley Famous, which was like a bacon wrapped hot dog with cheddar cheese and onions, which of course you can't go wrong with that. And yeah, so we're gonna talk more about that as we go. Over the course of the season, I'm going to add that to my coverage as like a kind of a fun way to a fun different angle to the game. I'll go into that more later. You just keep watching, keep looking out on the blog or on Patreon and my Patreon updates. But yeah, and let me know if there are places you want me to review specifically at Rogers Arena or around the arena. That's another thing. I'm going to try and do restaurant reviews, like specifically around the building, of places to go get a beer before and after the game sort of thing, or get a drink or food if you're not somebody who likes eating at the game. We're going to do that. We're going to do stuff like that too. So yeah, if there are places you like or places you want to recommend to me that I should go try before games or after games, please let me know. I am looking for ideas. I'm looking for plenty of ideas. Let's see. And then, third period is where everything kind of just blew into another universe, because the Kings did get one. At one point, it was 4-2. This game was 4-2. It was close as far as hockey is concerned. It was a close game at one point. Sean Walker, who I'm pretty sure is just a generic NHL video game AI created person. I do not believe he's real. I'm pretty sure he's just, one of those artificial players that your franchise mode makes up when the real players start retiring. But he got his second goal of the season. And, it looked like the Kings were going to make a game of it. And then the floodgates opened. And Quinn Hughes, who already has a goal, he just puts a beautiful pass into the slot for Chris Tanev. Apparently, Travis Green was not happy because literally both of his defensemen, it was an odd man rush for the Canucks, where it was Besser going up with Quinn Hughes and Chris Tanev. The two defensemen are the guys leading the rush, and Hughes just slapped a perfect pass onto the stick of Tanev, who just deflects it in past quick, and for a guy like Tanev who never scores, that was pretty dang cool to see, like that rarity of, oh my god, I was at a Chris Tanev game. Forget all the goals that Quinn Hughes how this is the first goal of many for Quinn Hughes, or getting to see Elias Pettersson get a goal. I just saw a Chris Tanev. I saw a Chris Tanev tally. Might never happen again. You gotta seize those moments when you can. I think even Quinn Hughes was talking about after the game that he was saying that was my favorite goal of the night, was getting Chris Tanev a goal. And of course it is. The defense was lighting things up. Alex Edler had this goal where essentially he just skated, like I think it was Miller just kind of dropped past the puck to him. He just teed it up like a clean shot, and Jonathan Quick just missed, just completely whiffed on it. It was a laser shot, but even then Edler was far enough out. I believe he was closer to the blue line than anything else. It was like the far blue, like the far edge of the blue, and he was closer to the boards. And Jonathan Quick has the angle. He has all the time and space to get this shot, and he just whiffed. Like, it was a complete miss. And I don't think maybe it's because I haven't seen the Kings play in the time that since Jonathan Quick has become not so much of an elite goaltender, but man, was that weird to see a guy who's like a Vezina candidate generally year after year just completely whiff on that shot. I would argue the worst player on the ice was Jonathan Quick tonight. There were a lot of goals that were just completely on him, where he would just completely miss the puck. And man, he has never looked more baitable in a game. He does not look like the Jonathan Quick that was unstoppable in 2012. And I mean, that's what time and injuries will do to you, but still weird to see. Then Bo Horvat, the captain, sets up another odd man rush for Josh Levo. At first, I think we thought that it was Tyler Myers who scored, but for some reason we thought it was Tyler Myers at first, which would have been hilarious. But no, Josh Levo following up on the play. Good. He played the trailer really well. He tapped that puck. It was a good deflection. He didn't have a lot of space to do it either. Horvat, it was a laser pass, and then an even more laser precise deflect tip, because Levo didn't have the room. He had a King stick in front of him. He had Jonathan Quick right on top of him. He managed to he just flipped it up and in. It was a hard, good deflection, and it was a well placed pass from Bo just to set it up. And then the final goal of the game was this. You kind of feel bad for the Kings. It was another defensive breakdown for the Kings. Brandon Sutter kind of just throws the shot on net. Quick makes the initial stop, and then a Kings player slides into him, and all of a sudden Quick kicks the puck into his net. Nobody knew it was in at first. The play kind of kept going. I think we had an idea, like some of the people in the crowd had an idea that puck had crossed the line, and then you hear like the horn go from like the Toronto War Room is calling like mid-play, which is their way of saying, oh, this went in and this went in. The whole crowd's kind of losing. We're kind of like laughing at this point. Just like the building is just kind of like, this is unbelievable. The amount of good luck going the Canucks way today is hilarious. And which is funny because they were not getting the benefit of the calls on the power play. The Canucks killed a 5-on-3 in this game, which will definitely get glossed over because of the fact that the scoring was outrageous. But the Canucks killed off a 5-on-3. The defense was decent tonight. They had some mistakes, but they were decent. They did a good job. They killed off a 5-on-3, and the 5-on-3 unit was Jay Beagle, Brandon Sutter, Tyler Myers, and Chris Tanev. And they were gassed. They looked absolutely gassed during the second portion of this 5-on-3, during the final portion of this 5-on-3, and they were exhausted, and they still managed to keep the puck out of the net, and eventually they got a call go their way, and they were able to change, and it was one of the best defensive efforts I've ever seen. Jay Beagle, and I guess Jay Beagle was at one point it was Jay Beagle and Brendan Sutter. They did have a miscue and could have probably cleared it earlier, but and that something that needs to get worked on communication wise. But other than that, they looked very good. The defense was good, and that's the way this game ended. It was an 8-2 thumping. The whole crowd was loving it. The Canucks played I'm Still Standing by Elton John at the end of the game as like the win song, and I love that. The Canucks played Where the Streets Have No Name to introduce the players. Also love that. The goal song. It's not Holiday, and I don't love it. It was fine. Like, it's this song. I don't even know what it is. It's a weird song. I think Wyatt the Stanchion Arndt was talking. He likened it to like a generic NHL 20 song, which, yeah, he's probably right on that. It was this weird song where it just goes, hey, hey, hey. And it's one of those things where they're trying to get the crowd into it. But just keep Holiday. What was wrong with Holiday? I don't get what's their obsession with trying to change that goal song all the time. Like, keep it. People love the goal song last season. It's Holiday by Green Day, and it's perfect, and people love it. Keep it. Stop trying to change perfection. It was fine the way it was. Don't mess with a good thing. If that would be my one thing with the game, in-game entertainment that needs to change, is that there was the goal song was not great. The goal song's not great. They need to bring back Holiday, please. But aside from that, it was a great game overall. The Canucks looked great. And then the overall in-game entertainment again. It's been a while since I've been to the building, and man, a lot has changed in that time since I've been to a Canucks game in Vancouver. They had like a dance crew that out during stoppages in play. They have a drum line now, which I like. I don't mind the drum line. I know some people think it's a little iffy. I believe they have the siren. They have like they have the siren go off or whatever. They have like the horn that you can like crank up the horn before the game. That's pretty cool. I know those are kind of Golden Knights ripoffs, but hey, it works. I like it. What else was there? There was something else. Oh, they had Crazy P, who's a guy from who you might, if you're from Vancouver, you'll know as the drum guy from the Lions games. They actually have him in the building now, and I liked that a lot. That actually did add. He came up to our section and started getting the crowd going. He did a great job. He did a good job. I didn't know how well his Lions style thing, which is like football, I didn't know how well that was going to translate over to a hockey crowd. Again, just because the Canucks crowd is notorious, generally speaking, in the last few years, a group that's kind of bored and sits on their hands a little bit more. But if the crowd's like that every game, they're doing a good job. They're doing good work. And great. I liked the added in-game entertainment and the experience. I think they did a very good job with that. What else is there? There was a couple. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should go over. They had all sorts of great merch out there now for the 50th season, all this great stuff to get that you can buy to celebrate the season. I'm broke. I didn't buy anything. I bought a puck, but other than that, I was, there was a lot more stuff that I'm like, ooh, gotta get that, but I just couldn't. I couldn't for tonight. It's gonna have to wait for another week, for another time. And overall, a very good game. Very good game. Easily the best hockey game I've ever been to, without a doubt. I had so much fun. I've got a few games, at least two more Canucks games I'm going to this month, so I'm interested to see what the crowd is like at those games too. But overall, that was the best experience I've had at a Canucks game, like, in probably ever. Like, it was a great game. The Canucks won. The fans were into it. It was a great experience overall, and I will never forget that. And, as a way of just, like, personally, on a personal note, just, I wouldn't say, things, and I'm doing this, I guess, on Mental Health Day, Mental Health Awareness Day. My head hasn't been where I've wanted it to be, in a while now, most of this year, and hockey's not exactly, hockey is like a big thing for me. Hockey's like something that I really look forward to, and something that really, no, I don't want to say gives me a reason to wake up in the morning, because that makes it sound more like, more extreme than it is. But it's one of those things where, when there's a game on, my issues, like my depressive issues kind of disappear for a while. Like, for 3 hours, I have something else. There's something else for me to look forward to, and something for me to enjoy. And last night's game was really a good indicator of that, just like of how much hockey means to me personally, and how much for and how much it really helps my mental health, just to go to games and just to enjoy the experience of being in the building. Like, nothing is more therapeutic for me than writing and going to hockey games. Those are the two big things that are so therapeutic for me as a person, and they give me really something that I'm really proud of, and something that really brings out the best side of me, and the side that I love the most about myself. So last night's game was very special for me, and just, makes me feel a lot better than I have recently. And, I'm so thankful for that. And I'm thankful that I know I have something that, even whenever I'm at my darkest moments, I'm really happy it really makes me happy to know that there's something for me to look forward to, and there's always going to be something for me that will help pull me out of those darker times and those darker moments, and something to look forward to. And I'm really thankful for that. I'm really thankful for hockey, and how much, maybe it means too much to me, but I'm happy. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that as far as anything goes. And yeah, I guess just this will probably be my only episode before the next game against the Flyers. I might do a second episode, like a second Patreon exclusive episode, because this is going up on YouTube, and I'm going to the Flyers game on Saturday. So yeah, I might do this again. I might do another episode before then or after. We'll see. But I think we're gonna cut this off now, because we're getting up to about 40 minutes, and we're getting over 40 minutes, and I think that's a good stopping point for today. I am also, for the next episode, I would love to take questions. I'm gonna do a mailbag, so I'm gonna use the hashtag #AskLach, hashtag #AskLACH. I'm hoping to do a little bit of a mailbag segment in the next episode. So yeah, get in some questions if you want to ask me something for the next episode, either whether that's NHL stuff or something completely random. You can ask whatever question you want within reason. And yeah, we're gonna do that. And I should have some new stuff coming up on Fear the Fin and Daily Hive soon-ish. I've got some good stuff that I'm working on right now. And then, of course, if you haven't read the new Sunday Crease, that came out on Sunday. There's going to be some more good stuff coming out. There's going to be another Sunday Crease in a couple days from now, so you can look forward to that. And I'm hoping to do some more videos and stuff like this again, and hopefully get back into the video department. This is kind of a nice segue into that. So with that in mind, thanks for listening or watching. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit the subscribe button. I know I haven't made a video. I know this video is very different from all the other ones on this channel, but this is I'm finding a balance where I can for in between these two. So if this is your first time on the channel, thank you so much for watching, and click like and subscribe and share this with every Canucks fan or any hockey fans. And for those of you who are just listening to this episode, thanks for supporting me on Patreon. Patreon.com/LockinTheCrease. If you haven't joined, please do. Please consider it. Or donate to my Ko-Fi page. And with that in mind, thank you. This has been LITC Radio, and I will see you next time. Bye.